Harrison Price for Friday, January 9th, 2026. Presentation of Bet365. We're coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio here at the historic Wall Center. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Matt Sakaris with Blake Price, four-time Juno Award winner Mike Rogerson, hitting switches, conducting things, taking you into the weekend on this Friday. The first Saturday in January after the holidays is typically one of, if not the biggest regular season audience that Hockey Night in Canada gets each and every year. Because people have spent the last month visiting and they've spent a lot of money over the last month, and so they tend to hunker down on the first Saturday in January after all the festivities, New Year's, and residuals.
I would think TV does pretty well this weekend overall, yeah.
Well, and when you have the two biggest English language markets facing off in a hockey game at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific, and especially with the weather that looks to be coming here to Vancouver, yeah, I have a feeling there'll be a lot of eyeballs on the game despite the play of the Vancouver
Yeah, because they
Canucks
might be playing tomorrow on a Saturday, but watching them is work. It makes it feel like the work week has expanded when you add the Canucks to your plate. A lot of work.
Which brings us to our daily poll question. Will this be the worst Canucks season of all time? And we've done the homework for you here a little bit, everybody, as we get into Crave the Stats, brought to you by Uber Eats. So the Canucks have finished dead last in the National Hockey League overall league standings once. That was their second season of existence, 1971-72. That was in a 14-team league. They finished next to last twice. In 1989-90, in a 21-team league. In 2016-17, we were doing shows back then, Blake. Under Willie Desjardins, they finished 29th in a 30-team league.
That's standing. What you're looking at on the screen right now, if you're on a visual medium, is points.
Points. Which
it's really going to be tough to come close.
Yeah, I mean, 48 points, you're not beating
58 points in 98-99. Can you freaking believe that?
Yeah. God.
Like, that's modern era hockey.
And that's messy.
58 points. That's going to be hard. For those of you that were Canucks fans in the 80s going, where are all the 80s? 7 of the next 10 years on the list are from the 80s.
But the 5 worst are expansion era, one in the late 70s, one in the late 90s, yeah. And here's the thing. The Winnipeg Jets have a game tonight against the LA Kings. If the Jets were to win it and snap an 11-game losing streak, Winnipeg would pull into a tie for points with Vancouver, but would leapfrog them in the standings on the basis of regulation wins.
I would say that Vancouver Canucks fans are craving wins, craving the points. I don't think they are. I think they see this as clinical. They might be craving more of the same, in fact.
Yeah. They're 16, 22, and 5 for 37 points. They're minus 32 in goal differential, which is better than only the St. Louis Blues, and in part because the Blues have just not been able to get a save this year. And so have given up a ton of goals. Well, actually, they've given up the same number of goals as the Canucks.
They were 500 at the 20-game mark. Since then, 7, 13, and 3. So, again, just doubling the points is not really a great exercise because it doesn't really speak to where they have been in the most recent quarter. And that seems like a far more real. That point pace is a 61-point pace, the second quarter.
And then the other bit of context we should add here is standing points is really not the best barometer of this, everybody, because, we're in an era where you get a looser point in overtime and in a shootout. There was an era in the National Hockey League where there were ties. There was also an era in the National Hockey League where you did not get a looser point for losing in overtime.
Yeah.
So, overall league standing, we think, is a better barometer. And, of course, this is the biggest field the Canucks have ever played in. The NHL's never been 32 teams until a few years ago when the Kraken joined.
And year 1, year 2 after expansion, you kind of expect it.
Well, especially back then in that era, and through into the Sharks, Lightning, Senators era, and even the Ducks, Blue Jackets, Predators, Panthers era.
But closing in on 60 years of existence?
No, but
it's harder to be last place.
In those eras, there was general consensus that these teams should finish.
Should be. It's
at the
pennants.
bottom. Like the rest of the league argued and won the day in those meetings that, yes, exactly. Penance is a great word for it, Blake, that you'll have a honeymoon period in your first year anyway, just with NHL hockey being in a new market, and that you should take your lumps.
For a few more.
Yeah. Do you remember when Vegas was doing its thing in year 1? And, longtime audience members on this show know where I stood on all of that.
We do.
Yeah, great story. I was like, no, this is tragic. This is the Stanley Cup being transactional in Gary's league. And Blake and I were at BC Lions camp in Kamloops, and we would do the show. We would see some practice, then we'd go off and play golf, and we'd be listening to Sirius satellite radio, and none other than Chris Mad Dog Russo, the WFAN sports talk radio legend from New York City, who's now matriculated to ESPN quite often with Stephen A. Smith on First Take and had his own radio show, has his own station on Sirius Satellite. Also felt that way. He was like, this is terrible that the Vegas Golden Knights. That was a guy who didn't often speak hockey on a show, brought that issue up. And he always cited the Islanders going, the Islanders were terrible for a number of years and built it the right way and then, hit on picks, like Potvin, Bossy, and whatnot, and then went on their dynasty. Like, that is the appropriate evolution of an expansion team. It's not one that this market got with the Vancouver Canucks in the 70s.
Although, by year 3, they were 14th in a 16-team league. So there was progress being made.
When I first moved here, within like a year or two, Barry McDonald invited me to take part in this show that they were doing in advance of a Canucks-Canadiens game at Rogers Arena for Canucks.com. And I first came across the clip of an exhausted, gasping for air Glenn Hanlon talking about the Canucks' first ever win against the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, the Canadiens were great in the 70s, and how much it meant to the Canucks franchise. And I couldn't get over it. I'm like, this is a regular season game. This was one of 82, and they were treating it like a Stanley Cup. Holy cow, things must have been bad for the early NHL Canucks.
Well, also, just, expansion was not really that much of a thing yet. They'd only done it once before, really, and being into the National Hockey League was an honor of its own. And so, like, nowadays, oh my goodness.
Well, because you had a rival league back then, too, right? So,
yeah.
I voted no. I voted no. And I'm not even sure why I voted no. But I voted no because in my world, the Canucks went on a bit of a winning streak in late March, April, and got themselves out of the NHL basement in several spots up the standings. I would not be the least bit surprised. We have seen that before. But boy, if it feels like the worst Canucks season of all time or of your lifetime, because I know a lot of people will just deal with their years watching this team, understandably so. I can completely understand that.
I'm going to say yes.
It has been dreadful.
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to think that they get to 32nd and stay there. I don't think there's a roster that's weaker than the Vancouver Canucks. I think the injuries will continue to pay their toll. Like
trades as well, Blake.
I think there's a realistic chance that they lose 2 to 3 more roster players off of the group that we see right now. And I think there's a realistic chance that they shelve players like Elias Pettersson and Marco Rossi down the stretch and say, listen, you've got nagging injuries. Goodbye.
All right, you've convinced me. I'm changing my vote, yes. There's also a world where the young players get better, right? Improvement within.
Oh, there'll be flashes. That's how they'll get the wins that they will get. They haven't stopped winning this year.
They're on a pace right now for 71 points. But as Blake says, like if you're trading out veterans and if you're shutting down veterans because they have injuries that why bother, then 71 might be even, God, in today's era to not get 70 points.
But again, at the 20-game mark, they're on an 82-point pace.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're on a 71-point pace. Like there's an anvil around their ankles right now. I think
there has been after the last 23 for sure.
I think there's a realistic chance that they get into the 60s here for points this season. Like in fact, I'm almost convinced of it. I would take the under right now if I saw an over/under for season points at 69. I would take the under on the Vancouver Canucks.
And for many, this will be welcome news, right? All the tank commanders out there.
Yeah.
That's what you want. That's what you need.
Now, again, the best part about finishing dead last isn't that you're guaranteed first. It's that you're guaranteed the podium.
Yes, you can fall no lower than third.
And this year, there's 3 that have seemingly separated, 3 or 4. Like you're getting one of the bells of the ball.
And it's if you the pick odds. So if you finish last, and we've talked about this many times, particularly during 16, 17, 17, 18 when the Canucks were so dreadful. Although a bit of a different lottery format since then, it must be said. You were still a greater bet to get third overall than first or second, or even first and second combined. If you finish dead last, you have a 25.5% chance of picking first overall. So really, only a little better, smidge better than 1 in 4 chance. You have an 18.8% chance of securing the second overall pick.
So mid 40s,
correct,
chance of going 1 or 2.
It's a 55.7% chance of picking third.
Yeah.
And this is,
and honestly, and I think that's the proper way to avoid full on intentional tanks.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think those odds are perfect.
50+% for the third pick. I'm with you.
Yeah.
But of course, we're talking about a 2026 entry draft with Gavin McKenna, with Ivar Stenberg, with Keaton Verhoff, and who knows, maybe somebody will join that group. The centerman, Tynan Lawrence, one of the defensemen, Chase Reed, has gotten a lot of love here of late. We'll see. But of course, in a lot of lotteries, number 1 stands out to a massive degree, right?
Yeah,
and this is what it's designed to do.
That's right.
Okay, you're going to intentionally be bad.
You still only get a 1 in 4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
May still get a good player, but we're not going to allow what the NFL has, which is no lottery whatsoever. Worst team picks first. Tiebreakers for strength of schedule to separate teams with the same record. And the NHL has, as we know, if you followed the history of this thing, has gone through great pains. The average draft position in this lottery for teams that finish dead last is 2.3.
So it's second or third generally.
Yeah. If you finish next to last in the NHL, your average draft position is 3. So there you have it.
If from game day eats to paper plates, napkins if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need, maybe you're sick of having a party. It's just coming out of the holiday season. Do it for you. You deserve it. Get on the app, Game day, especially for all the great deals. Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. And a little Easter egg at the end of today's show with regards to
stick
Uber
around
Eats.
at the end. Blake and I had some fun with this.
Yeah.
Our top story brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, Foolish Winery. Longest win streak or winless streak of the season. And really, you could call it a losing streak, but, in the NHL now, they don't want to call it a losing streak if you get loser points. Everyone's a winner in the NHL.
The word loss is there, but yes.
Everyone's a good guy. Canucks fall 5-1 in Detroit. Now 5 consecutive losses, 2 of them beyond regulation. Heading into Toronto tomorrow for Game 3 of this 6-game Eastern road trip. And every day Jeff sends us a little note after he does RinkWide about the game and about, all the different things that JPat digs up and unearths as he sits there and consumes game after game and looks at the stats and the standings and beyond. And today's note, poor Jake DeBrusk, he scored again, which means he had to do media after another loss. Jake DeBrusk is doing all this scoring in the midst of all of this losing, and so he's one of the guys whose number's up to do media post-game. Let's hear from the Canucks winger, who says they are just fragile defensively right now.
Of course, puck goes in your net a lot. You don't play the same way. It's just human nature. You don't want to get scored on. So, I think that has something to do with some of our breakouts and plays and things we've been getting caught. And, sometimes it makes you play on your heels. And, when you play on your heels in this league, bad things happen.
How do you bounce back after this one before Toronto?
Yeah, you just got to flush it and take positive and negatives. Obviously, we have some video and some things, but we gotta figure it out here pretty quickly. So, I think that's a good question.
And Jake's right. Teams get scarred. Here we go again. Becomes a mindset or creeps in during the proceedings. Oh, we tried to break it out this way and turned it over. It was a goal in our net. Can't do that again. So now your options are limited, right? Oh, we're not going to try that breakout because we're scarred on that one.
This is a real dangerous
good analysis.
This is a dangerous part of the schedule for the Canucks because there's so much runway left that if they start the wrong way in any given game, there's going to be a lot of sag. There's going to be a lot of details missed because you know what? What's the consequence to not doing those details? There isn't one. Maybe you get a benching. Mercy, that's a night off. That's a good thing for some of these the veteran players. Now, you want to give me a night off? Fill your boots, coach. I'm still getting my $5 to $7 million a year. You're not punishing me. Generally, what you see with these kinds of teams when they get this bad, when they're this disappointed, the next 25 games are going to be really rough. Then the last dozen games, when you don't want them to win, they do pick it up because last sort of impressions on the coach, just in case he's going to be the guy next year, last impressions even on the management on any offseason thing. So you generally perk up again in the last dozen games or so, but these next 25, Matt, it could be dark here for the Vancouver Canucks.
God, you say next 25, and the slog.
No. See, the beauty of me saying that now is that's actually not a lot of time. If you've seen the schedule for this team, it is checkerboard. That is to say, they play at minimum every other night. At minimum. They got the back-to-backs next week, but there's no double days off between now and the Olympics. It is every other night.
And, of course, that 8-game homestand coming up starting January 17th. Get excited.
Get excited. It's 2 weeks straight. Every other night, the Canucks are down the street, and you only have to pay several $100s per ticket to get in. That's the good news.
You, though? Do you?
Well, on the first market.
I know people are getting in on lower bowls now. It's $75, $80 a pop on the resale market.
On the primary market, it's bad. It'll do very well on the secondary.
The student price is almost matched the beer price now.
That's a good point. If you've never taken your kids to a game in the next 2 weeks, start checking that secondary market. You're going to be able to do it.
I was speaking to someone who works out at UBC recently, and we were talking about the student ticket pricing. And, we both sort of guffawed at, what did they start at? Like 179 or something like that for that Kings game last January? A really big number. And how it has plummeted down to, is it 69, 59, whatever it is. But we both agreed, like, give the Canucks a modicum of credit for understanding, oh, that's not where the market is anymore. We should price those a little more appropriately.
Yeah.
It's not something organizations want to do, but when sports teams do lower ticket prices because of the performance of the team, that is a sign of strength, not weakness.
Yeah.
That is a sign of understanding the market, which, of course, the Canucks have been very guilty of not understanding when it comes to team building. What this market wants, what this market would stand for. But yes, that 8-game homestand starts on the 17th, and we've talked about this. The saving grace is that you have absolute superstars who are coming through town. And so if you're a hockey fan and you've never seen Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl play live, but let's face it, McDavid is a sexier player. Well, there you go. January 17th, he'll be at Rogers Arena. Later that week, the 21st, Alex Ovechkin, probably for the last time, or the penultimate time, will be at Rogers.
And the other
Arena.
kind of fun part about that is if you're paying to go see those kinds of players, they might do well against this team too.
Sidney Crosby on the 25th against the Canucks. Macklin Celebrini on the 27th against the Canucks. The Leaf game is in that homestand as well, the 31st of January. And look, if you're a season ticket subscriber, are you going to go to 8 straight games every second night?
There's no chance. How many? That would be a great answer to find out. And like, how many of the? How many season ticket holders is there? 15,000.
I'm not sure it's that much anymore, but
yeah, 13 to 15,000. How many go to 8? How many go to 7? How many go? Like, I would love to see those statistics.
like, how many are selling off the entirety of the homestand?
right. I mean,
Particularly the Leaf game, which more often than not can help you.
Matt, if they were
underwrite
if they were a bubble team,
your
if
tickets.
they were vying for a playoff position, I don't know that there's many season ticket holders that want to go to 8 straight games.
Well, every second night is it's a lot.
A lot of parking. It's a lot of
Exactly.
$17 beers.
There's associated costs over and above, even if you don't eat or drink in the year.
Yeah.
1-5-2 and have been outscored 35-19 in their last 8 games. They haven't won a regulation game since 10 games ago when they were terrific and full value for that win at the Islanders. Since then, opponents have taken points off the Canucks in 9 straight. And their last 2 wins have come via shootout at Seattle and at Boston. Canucks have not scored a first period goal in 4 straight games. They have given up the first goal in 27 of 43 games this year. Boeser is now 18 without a goal and 1 goal in 25 games and is as lost and ineffective as he has ever been as a Canuck. Evander Kane, 10 games without a goal, 1 in his last 16. Kiefer Sherwood, he had the big drought, 10 games, got the ship righted, 1 goal in his last 9. Nils Höglander does not have a point in 10 games this year. Atu Ratu scoreless in 9. Sassone in 7.
A lot of that is the weakness of center ice. Hedel, Bluger, Rossi, all still out on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Garland is a play generator from the wing. He's also out. None of that helps. But I would think blind squirrels would find the nut every now and then. So I think a lot of that goes to my previous point about the sag. Like, I think these are dark days for a lot of the veterans who have been there and done that, who started this season with the club, Matt, and thought, as many of us did, this is a 90-plus point team. And they are so deep into it now, and yet the runway is still so long ahead of them. I think it's going to be really tough to get the very best games out of any of these sorts of players. Now, that being said, like, Matt, being on the power play is still fun. Like, players like to be on, like how some of these players haven't struck on the power play even.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
So you remember that 4-game road winning streak they had last month?
Yep.
They beat the Devils, Rangers, Islanders, and Bruins in succession.
Mm-hmm.
All on the road, too.
Yep.
You remember Elias Pettersson did not play during that stretch? And a lot of his critics were like, look at that. Elias Pettersson's out of the lineup and they're winning games. They are a better team with Elias Pettersson in uniform and on the ice from a talent perspective. Since he's come back into the lineup, they're 1-4-2.
Although his
small sample
and his own individual stats, like when he is on the ice,
his underlines are still pretty good.
Like the Canucks
didn't get a point last night. That snapped a 3-game point streak.
Yeah,
he's got 3 goals since coming back, and some nice goals too. Alas, there we are. Boy, a lot of guys on the big mistakes list last night. And we're going to talk about Marcus Pettersson with JPat later in the program. Here's Tyson Cole from Canucks Army and RinkWide. Pettersson's opening period. I mean, it just yakety sax is the soundtrack. But big mistakes from half the defense corps last night. Boeser, Myers, Pettersson. Oh, and Sherwood contributed on that list as well.
And to be clear, Marcus, not Elias, who was pretty
Marcus
invisible
Pettersson.
in a good way.
Yeah, not EPD.
Yeah.
We would call him EPD or Elias Pettersson, DPD. We would call him something like that. Marcus Pettersson. And, he's not an offensive defenseman. And Jim Rutherford put his stake in the ground, said, I've had this guy before, and this is a guy who is going to help us get back to where we be. Yeah, okay, we're missing JT Miller. We got a hell of a defenseman in those do-si-do trades last January. He's been fucking awful this year.
Yep.
He's been a detriment. He's been part of the problem.
Lost at times. Absolutely lost at times. Can't tie up guys in front of his
Last
own
year I
net.
watched him play and I went, yeah, Jim's right. This guy is pretty good. I mean, skinny as all heck. He doesn't, look like your prototypical shutdown defenseman, but
Steady Eddie.
yeah, steady. Hey, even a little bit better than with the puck than I thought. Can at least transport a little bit. Pass it, get it going. Smart. There were a lot of things in the sample that we saw from Marcus Pettersson last year that we liked. Just utterly lost this year. And you wonder if it has to do with that foot defensive system that seemingly no one other than Philip Roenick has down. Here's Tyler Myers. He was talking about the defensive mess postgame.
I thought we had some good moments, especially in the first. But our details just aren't good enough. We're giving up odd man after odd man rush, and it seems to be, consistent in the last stretch here. So, it's not because we're not talking about it or going over it or working on it. It comes down to the guys here in the room. We gotta be much better with our details because it just accumulates and it just trickles down the line with our team game. And we have to be much better. Or, if we didn't have the 2 goalies that we have, score would be way worse.
Which is a good point.
And look, the reason I want to highlight this answer, Tyler Myers is known as like a coach in the room. Talkett used to always say that he's the best carrier of his message. He's like the team conscience. And he's also a pretty wise and smart guy and has known in the past when he's doing interviews, it can't be all dark storm clouds. He's usually reasonably diplomatic, political with his answers. Yes, he will absolutely acknowledge when things go wrong, but, he'll transition and try and put a better spin on it or look forward, corrective, instructive, those sorts of things. And he does there as well. But, Blake, some of the phrases in there make you wonder whether Tyler's trying to message to Foot, okay, enough of the system, coach. Like, it's clear we cannot play it, either because, we don't have the personnel, or the personnel doesn't have the skating ability or the hockey IQ or the lateral agility, the stop-start, whatever it may be. I mean, I listen to that, and I almost hear a guy with a letter, a vested NHL veteran, who's messaging to a constituency broader than the Canucks fans who are receiving that answer for the most part.
Yeah.
That was strong from Myers.
He also gets into...
They're working on it. They're, it's not for lack of conversation. It's not for lack of work on it. I mean, we were asking this question 15 games ago, 20 games ago. Okay, Coach, if they're not picking up your system, man, if they're showing themselves to be ineffective in trying to play your system, this man's system that he wants to play, at some point it's incumbent on you to change things.
The thing that they're talking about it, I go back to, like, what's the upshot here? Details will get missed because they don't care anymore. They are not playing for anything anymore. And it's going to be really tough for Adam Foote to get these guys' attention right now, especially, again, the veterans, because there's nothing to play for. And pride in one's workmanship is your best hope here. But that's going to be a tough message to sell the rest of the way. Again, it's just so damn long. When you're out of it this early, it's so damn long to ask these guys to... I mean, every detail, being a pro in this league, the details are immeasurable almost on any given shift in any given game. And for you to expect these guys to be on their toes like that with nothing on the line, and there hasn't been for a while, and there won't be for months, it's a big ask. And we're gonna come to know who are the guys that are able to manufacture some urgency and some pride in this. But the downside of when this happens is the young players. We look for the young players to show us a glimpse, get us excited about the future. But it is a team game. And if the two veterans on D aren't doing their details, guess what? The young guy's looking for that breakout pass. The pass isn't going to come. Liam Ogren's not going to be streaking down the right side with the puck because they're not getting it out to him. And they're defending nonstop. Like, the system is broke here for the rest of the year, Matt. Like, it's going to be tough to find those glimpses of young player success because it is a system. It is the totality of the team that gets you from A to Z at the other end of the ice. And if there's a breakdown in A through L in their own zone, guess what? It's not getting down there. Mm-hmm. It's going to be pure blind luck in a lot of ways for those glimpses of good hope to come to the forefront.
And the thing is, until the Canucks enter formally with action and word a rebuild, you have a fan base who is watching all this going, you're trying to win. And look at how badly you're failing.
Yeah.
As soon as you say, okay, tap it out, we have to rebuild this organization, rebuild this roster, then fans are willing to give you a break on all this. They're willing to have patience.
Yeah.
They're willing to be understanding. It's a really intelligent hockey market here. They know the game. They know the NHL. They know roster building vis-a-vis the cap. They also know that every Stanley Cup champion this century, with the exception of the expansion team, has had to at some point bottom out, get very high picks, and have those guys on the roster when they're in their best competitive windows. DeBrusk scores again on the power play. It's 3 goals, 5 points in his last 4. Patrick Kane outscores him. Gets 2 on the night. 1 into an empty net. It's career goal number 500. He is the 50th player in league history to reach that milestone. And, of course, he got it against the Vancouver Canucks because
that's what they do.
7 players total, the most of any NHL franchise, have scored their 500th against the Vancouver Canucks. Steven Stamkos, Patrick Marleau, Joe Sakic, Wayne Gretzky. Kirk McLean still gets a lot of run out of that story on his circuit. Stan Mikita, Frank Mahovlich all scored their 500th against the Vancouver Canucks as well. 50 guys all time, 7 of them against the Canucks. 1 in every 7 500 goal scorers gets his milestone goal.
That's more than their fair share.
You think?
In this size of a league.
You think?
Yeah. Hey, they like to be a part of history.
They're in Toronto tomorrow to face the Leafs. A Leafs team that is 6-0-2 in its last 8. Has the second best home record in the league at 15-5-5. Leafs are playing .700 hockey at home. 35 out of a possible 50 points.
Finding some swagger again.
Please don't get embarrassed in Toronto on Hockey Night in Canada, right? Even the tankists, if you're going to get a win the rest of this season, let it be this one, right? Or the one versus the Leafs at the end of the month here at Rogers Arena. Those are the 2 games that you most want to get for the rest of this year. No?
Have they been embarrassed yet this season, do you think? Do you think there's been some lopsided losses?
No, because that's what I said coming out of the Buffalo game. For the most part, effort has not been a problem. And if you provide a full 60-minute effort in this league with the parity and all that, you shouldn't be embarrassed all that often.
A couple of these recent 6-3 losses, they were blanked 4-0 by Detroit, 8-5 to Florida just because of the sheer volume of goals, but ultimately it was only a 3-goal deficit. Mm-hmm. I think you could make the argument Pittsburgh 5-1. But, there's 5-1. They won 5 games 5-1, too. So
5-1 if there were empty netters involved, too,
yeah.
like there was last night. No, I'm not sure they have been.
That was 5 legitimate goals, that Pittsburgh one. But
that San Jose 6-3 loss was pretty thorough, as I recall. Well, you say, have they been embarrassed this year? No. Okay, that bodes well. Isn't every team not going to have an embarrassing loss or two over the course of 82?
I know I didn't say that bodes well at all. No, I'm more of the mind, they might be due.
There's one coming here.
Yeah, they might be due, especially for a team that's struggling defensively right now.
Yeah, I might say Tuesday in Ottawa, 3rd and 4 nights back-to-back, but the Senators are such a mess right now. Probably not.
Yeah. If there's a gettable game on this road trip, it should be the Ottawa Senators.
More on them with Jeff Marek later in the program. What's up with Yellow Dog?
Many things as usual. They've got a busy schedule in the new year. But I'm going to talk to you about a favorite, the Play Dead West Coast IPA.
Love this beer.
Award-winning beers right here in your own backyard. It's a classic IPA. Snagged a silver medal at this year's Canada Beer Cup with maximum hop flavor and aroma. It's a beer with delicious tropical fruit flavors, smoothed out with a nice dry finish. But don't be fooled. It does pack a punch. Yeah. It's got some alcohol in it.
Yes, it does. This is a big one.
So this is a
you
sit-down.
may need it while watching your
This is a sit-down beer. The Play Dead West Coast IPA from Yellow Dog Brewing. Speaking of Port Moody-based, I didn't give a shout-out to Adam Tambellini when I came back from Spengler. He was a big part of the Davos win at the Spengler Cup. So a shout-out to Adam, pride of Port Moody.
Adam Tambellini hits one of the biggest golf balls of non-professional golfers that I've ever come across in my life.
Yeah.
The stories of Adam Tambellini's drives at Predator Ridge are legendary. We've played golf at Predator with his dad, Steve, a number of times.
Who's also a very good golfer.
Who's an exceptional golfer. And he would tell us stories about when he takes his kid out, him and Adam, and just the places where Adam drives a golf ball.
That changes the golf course, yeah.
He takes a course that at one point had the slogan, "Come as predator, leave as prey," and turns it into a pitch and putt.
Yeah.
him and Cody Franson. You remember watching Cody hit a golf ball at some of those Giants charity tournaments at Dawson Springs? In fact, I think even Bob Weeks said to us at one time, of all the guys I've ever played with, taking the touring professionals out of the loop, Cody Franson may be the most impressive driver of a golf ball that I've seen. I would pay to watch Tambellini and Franson go long drive. Love the Tambellini family. Okay, so if this Canucks season wasn't weird enough, Rick Dollywell says the Canucks offered to send Evander Kane back to Edmonton.
Well, he's looking into it, he said. He's been told a couple times, but he hasn't
been able to confirm. Now, there is a residual matter with Evander from his time in Edmonton, and I'm not sure if the Canucks did their due diligence and were aware of it at the time of the trade, so I don't know if this was a request to take him back because of this matter or if it was completely independent because, as we know, the Oilers are looking for help for their forward group to support McDavid and Draisaitl. But have mentioned this on the show. I've heard this matter may make it difficult to trade Evander Kane between now and the deadline unless it is resolved. We'll see. The San Jose Sharks have entered the Kiefer Sherwood sweepstakes, according to reports. San Jose is feeling pretty bullish about itself these days. Now, the one thing, boy, I would be surprised if San Jose is willing to give up good future assets here, Blake, at this stage of the game. I know they're above the playoff bar, 47 and 43. I think you can argue Macklin Celebrini is the leader in the clubhouse right now for the Hart Trophy at the midpoint of the season with where he's at. They're still minus 15 in goal differential. So I would be surprised if you're getting your biggest return from the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, that's it.
There's almost a part of me that wonders whether San Jose is making this noise and then going to come to their senses a little bit more or at least play it out until the deadline. If you're right there where you are sitting on a wild card spot at the deadline, if you're Mike Greer and the Sharks, okay, peel some third and fourths, add some depth players, and see if you can make the playoffs and give yourself a fighting chance. Give your fans who have suffered some here some fun. But I would be awfully surprised. That said, San Jose makes a trade yesterday to improve their hockey club. Now, it didn't cost them a whole lot. They get Laurent Brossoit of Cloverdale to be a backup goaltender. Nolan Allen, actually, at one point, the defenseman
he was on the Canada team at Spengler.
He was a one-time first-round pick of the Chicago Blackhawks. So they get rid of a fourth. They get rid of the contract of Ryan Ellis. So the joke going around, Shea Weber and Ryan Ellis, the two highest-paid Chicago Blackhawks right now.
They're just rebuilding the Nashville Predators blue line from years ago.
They're rebuilding the Arizona Coyotes LTIR list from years ago as well.
But the thing with Sherwood and the Sharks is that's not who's going to give you the best price. Because
Wouldn't think so.
The best part about Kiefer Sherwood for any acquiring team is his price. And the Sharks don't give two shits about his price because they've got scads of cap space. You want to find somebody who's like, oh my God, we can't afford to improve in any way unless Kiefer Sherwood. That's the team you want to sell to.
That's Edmonton.
Yes.
That's Jersey.
Yes.
There's a few other teams that are in that boat.
Those teams should be giving you more than what the Sharks are going to be offering.
Yes, the ones that are up against the cap. Now, all that said, if San Jose is looking at this profile of player beyond this season, saying, you know what, we feel like we have some pretty good offensive players here in Macklin and Will Smith and Eklund and some coming in the hopper as well, but we're looking for a physical presence, a guy who can play with them, pot some goals, but also bring some thump to our lineup. And I don't understand. The Canucks didn't allow other teams to negotiate with Bo Horvat as they were marching towards that trade. Now, it didn't wind up hurting them because Horvat signed an extension with the Islanders shortly thereafter. And maybe the Islanders knew full well what it was going to take. But gosh, they should really let teams negotiate with Sherwood and his agent. Huh?
Yeah,
like
you
he's
would
worth
think.
more with a contract extension than he is right now as a rental.
If that gets the job done, I have to believe that if they think that's going to get the job done, the Canucks will
have to
green light
have
that.
to. Tampa, Florida, Toronto also not a ton of cap space, at least not now. Vegas would be in that boat as well amongst contending teams. The Hurricanes, Carolina, considering trade options for center Jesperi Kotkaniemi, according to Elliot Friedman. As Friedman notes, he has been in discussions already in the past. The LA Kings, they were looking for Philip Deneau, the Hurricanes were. And, of course, the Canucks as well, once upon a time. Winnipeg has also been mentioned here because Winnipeg's not thrown in the towel yet. They want to see if they can get back in the race from President's Trophy to last in the NHL. Honestly, Blake, I have caught some of these Scott Arniel press conferences after Jets losses. He is sounding less and less like an NHL coach with every single press conference. He almost sounds like a caricature coach out of Slapshot or something like that.
It's bad.
Like the pressure that is mounting on that man. Frankly, I'm surprised Cheveldayoff hasn't fired him already. And we know Scott a little bit. He was back in the Canucks system all those years ago. I'm just not sure he's head coaching material in the NHL. And I think some of that is coming to the fore here.
It's a big game tonight. Big game tonight.
Kotkaniemi, still just 25. He's been around forever, but of course started playing as a teenager all those years ago in Montreal. 4 years remaining at $4.82 million AAV. Just the 6 points, 2 goals in 25 games this year. Are you going near this player?
There was a time where I would have, because there for a few years there was market improvement. I mean, 2 years ago, 22-23, 18 goals, 43 points in 82 games at the age of 21. That player I'm interested in. That trajectory I'm interested in. But it's been regression
since then. He's known as
then.
a good defensive centerman. I haven't looked at the analytics and seen what they paint of him.
He's, for as good as plus minuses, I've got that in front of me. He's a -2, so.
Well, he's got a long way to go to catch Boeser for the Green Jacket.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's your answer. I think he's better than David Camp, if we can make that comparison, but I don't think he's your answer to your center ice problems, no.
No. And for me, like, the contract is scary. Like, I know 4.82 in the new world isn't 4.82 when he signed this deal, because remember, there was the offer sheet there.
But you don't want that for a 25-point guy.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
You can still do better than that.
Yeah.
For a 25-point player.
Like, if he was absolutely a good third-line center, I'd be happy with that. But if he's a fourth-line center or a guy masquerading as a third-line center, 4.82? No. That's the sort of contract that they may have to pay to get off. I mean, maybe he's got a fan or two around the league who will give them something for him. But, boy, I would be surprised if anybody's paying a real price for Kotkaniemi with that contract, given what's left.
A team like San Jose, defensive-minded guy, they could.
There you go.
They could do that.
Fair enough. Nice fit. I like it. Let's get to our menu today. It is brought to you by our friends at Greta, 50 West Cordova, where tomorrow there is another Canucks Army watch party. The doors are at 3 p.m. here. The puck drop is at 4. But the big news is a live edition of RinkWide Vancouver will take place right there at Greta after the final horn. Join Jeff Paterson, Irf Gaffar as they unpack the game in Toronto. If you do want to reserve your seat for the watch party, text 604-256-4022. Give them your name, how many seats you need. Again, 604-256-4022 to reserve your spot at Greta, 50 West Cordova tomorrow for a RinkWide Vancouver watch party and post-game show. The arcade's awesome. We've told you that before. We're going to talk to JPat here. We're going to talk to Jeff Marek as well. Marek on more league-wide issues and Canadian hockey coming off the World Jr. JPat on all the relevant Canucks matters.
We talk about so much with Marek. It almost defies note-taking.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of stuff.
We'll look forward to the NFL playoff weekend. Update on that story with the University of Washington quarterback.
Is he still at the university?
I think so.
Yeah.
Jays may lose Bo Bichette. A ridiculous arbitration filing in baseball. Canadian kits are leaked here. Lots happening with some members of the Caps, former members of the Caps. It's all coming up later in the program. Time now for our Bet365 bets of the day. And I got a win last night at plus 240 on an anytime goal from Jake DeBrusk. Remember, I was considering him, Linus Karlsson, and my boy Ogren.
I also got a win for shots on goal for Kiefer Sherwood. So
Good. What did you win? What was were you plus 240?
It was, no, more humble. It was plus 150. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go first then. That's quaint. You won your itty bitty bet. The Jets have lost 11 in a row. They're 2-15 in the last 17, and the internet tells me they're even worse than the New York Jets, who went 3-14 in their last 17.
You never want that.
Second of a back-to-back tonight against LA, and this is the game in hand, as we mentioned, that they have on the Canucks. If they win, they'll surpass the Canucks for 31st overall by virtue of regulation wins. That early part is daunting for Winnipeg. That last part is right on the nose. Jets at plus 110 to get off the schneid and beat the Kings.
I'm going with the zig when they zag theory with the Vancouver Canucks versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. Everything is telling us they should get waxed. Everything is telling us they've got nothing in the tank, which is why they'll win. Vancouver Canucks plus 140. And we talked about, hey, to be fair, we talked about what's going to motivate a veteran player. Center of the universe on Hockey Night in Canada.
I would hope so. This segment, a presentation of Bet365, whatever your bet. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game. Use code NATION when doing so. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Jeff Paterson coming up next. Sick Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center.
And this segment brought to you by your Pacific Toyota dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. Not rebuild, just hybrid. It's a vehicle.
Going to retool it a little bit in a hybrid form?
Needs no retool. In fact, Toyota's done the retooling for you already. This is a new-look vehicle. The 2026s have to be seen to be believed. Gorgeous. I mean, dare I say sports car, except so much cargo space, so much room in the back seat. That maybe takes you away down a path that you shouldn't be thinking about. This car can do it all. Go take one for a test drive. You'll see what it's all about. An intuitive cockpit and screen doesn't overwhelm you, but all the tech that you absolutely need. And right now, fabulous deal as well. Lease a 2026 SE from $109 weekly at 3.99% APR for 64 months. That's with $3,300 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today.
As we welcome in Jeff Paterson, our Canucks reporter, the host of RinkWide Vancouver, and we've been telling you all week, a live on-location program for RinkWide tomorrow, Saturday. Following the game, we'll have a watch party at Greta, doors at 3, puck drop at 4, and then moments after the final horn, Jeff will get busy with RinkWide Vancouver right there from Greta amongst the arcade and all the hockey fans and all the
There might be some football fans there too.
there might be some football fans there too having fun. Hi, Jeff.
Yeah, we think that by taking our show on the road, we're switching it up, and we are fully expecting that the Vancouver Canucks will follow suit. Now, they're in Toronto. That almost guarantees them a victory. Remember, last year, they got frozen out in Raleigh. They had to travel on game day. Everything was conspiring against them, and they went in and they shut the Leafs out. So it can be done. It might be done. Although the way the Canucks are going these days, I don't think there are a lot of people that want it, quite frankly, to be done. So yeah, we'll see what Saturday brings.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What was last night? Was that a hockey game? I'm unclear on the concept.
I've slept on it, kind of, and I've come to this conclusion, guys, that like as vomit-inducing as it was, and it looked a lot like Buffalo and a lot of the other games since Christmas, we have to be careful here because ultimately, and I am on Team Tank, like this is what we want. This is what we have signed up for. So there is, like, at the risk of being hypocritical in all of this, like, you know, you can carve the Canucks, but there are 39 games more remaining on the schedule, and that's the downside for a guy that hosts a post-game live stream and tries to break down what we've seen, because what we've seen, it doesn't matter anymore. It really doesn't. But as you watch these games go by one, like it is fair to wonder, is Brock Boeser ever going to score again? You know, what does Evander Kane do around here? And you can say, well, just focus on the young guys. And that's fine. And I think a lot of people will. But then you have to be prepared to have Zeev Buim have a tough night like he did in Detroit. That comes with the territory of being a 20-year-old finding his way in the NHL on a bad team. And so I think, you know, again, this is what people want. If they want the bottom to truly fall out for the Vancouver Canucks, there's going to be a lot more nights ahead that look like they did in Motown last night.
The one thing I'll ask, Jeff, and the one thing we said following the game against Buffalo, particularly the defensive side of the puck, is for the most part this season, I think you can say Adam Foote's teams have played hard. That effort hasn't been an issue. This week, it looks like effort has been more of an issue than it has been in the past. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, falling behind the way they did in Buffalo, and sure, there was a little spark there that made it interesting for about 90 seconds in Buffalo, but let's not get lost in the fact that they were easily the second best team on the ice against the Sabres, and the same goes against a Detroit team that, you know, quite frankly, I don't think the league is talking an awful lot about. They're kind of lost in that shuffle in the Eastern Conference that changes from hour to hour, if not day by day. But the Red Wings are, you know, since December 1st, they're right there with Colorado, one of the best records in the National Hockey League. And, you know, I guess for me, that was one of the frustrations was this wasn't Dylan Larkin running the Canucks show last night. This wasn't Lucas Raymond or Alex DeBrincat running the show. I mean, those guys figured kind of in the scoring, but it was the middle of the Red Wings lineup that went to town. And again, that just exposes the middle of the Canucks lineup, and, you know, they just can't hold their own. And so, yeah, I mean, I know post-game the question was asked to pretty much everybody, you know, about frustration levels and the frustration that's seeping in, and Adam Foote doing his best to tamp that down. But I thought the coach was as short with the questioners last night as he has been perhaps all season, where generally he'll stand in there and answer questions and give you his perspective, whether you agree or not. That's another matter. But he'll stand in there and answer the questions. Last night, I think frustration was getting the better part of him as well, and whether that was being on the wrong end of history, watching the Red Wings win. Of course, you go way back to the Avs and the Red Wings. Maybe there's still some he harbors grudges. Who knows? Watching Patrick Kane get his 2 goals for 500, or just watching his own team try to defend. Again, I look at the second Detroit goal, the third Detroit goal. Like Tyler Myers, and we've spent lots of time talking about Tyler Myers, and we all have time for Tyler Myers, the guy, but how does the right side defenseman drift out to the left point in coverage? Like, to me, that was, if you needed a highlight to sort of underscore this Canucks season and the problems that they've had in their own zone, it's the wandering right side defenseman winding up marking Ben Sherrod at the left point while leaving JT Compher wide open. Like, it's inexplicable. And I was hoping somebody was going to ask about that post game. We didn't get that question directly, but it had me shaking my head then. And as I've watched the replay a couple more times, it's just completely nonsensical. But this is who these Vancouver Canucks are.
Have they had, which is the more logical explanation for that, a group lobotomy or a coach that just has a system that doesn't work? Is one of those two the options here that we're looking at?
Yeah, and to the best of my knowledge, no medical records suggesting that they've undergone the group lobotomy, so I'm going to go with door number 2, and where Philip Hronek seems to have grasped what this coach is asking. He is on an island, essentially, because it's been a struggle for Tyler Myers, but it's been equally a struggle for Marcus Pettersson all season long. We saw that. It took his 20th minor penalty last night.
Jesus. He's been terrible.
Yeah, and this is a guy that you had to have and then had to double down and had to sign right away to this lengthy extension. And for whatever reason, like, he was solid last year after the trade, but this year in this system, it's just been an adventure almost every night out, and it makes no sense. But it is one of the reasons the Canucks are where they are in the standings.
Well, let's just flesh out Pettersson for a second here. Marcus, because he's probably the least.
There's issues with all of them, honestly.
Guys, so fine, he's not an offensive producer, but it's 9 points in 43 games. Like, he's on pace for a 16, 17-point season. Yeah. His Corsi is 44.4. That ranks 22nd amongst Canucks skaters. And this is supposed to be a top 4 defenseman? Like, it's been shockingly bad for Marcus Pettersson all season long.
Right, and so last night was his 20th minor, which ties him for the team lead with Vander Kane, and they're both in the top 5 in the National Hockey League in minor penalties taken. Now, in Evander's defense, and I generally don't use that statement often, but Evander has curtailed the penalty taking. It's just that he exists and there isn't a whole lot happening in his game, where Marcus Pettersson and Tyler Myers have both sort of taken the mantle and run with it. And it seems like a nightly competition who can get to the penalty box faster between those two. And last night it was Marcus Pettersson. This isn't a tough team. And we've had that conversation too, right? We wondered about sticking up for each other and coming to the defense of Quinn Hughes when he was here or other players. This is not a tough team. It's not built for toughness. It was one of the reasons that Evander Kane maybe made some sense if you were trying to wrap your head around that move last summer. And yet they're among the league leaders in penalties taken. And it's generally stick fouls, and it comes from getting beaten and being out of position and hooking and holding and slashing and whatever. And we know that penalty killing's been an issue for them all season long as well. So that had to be on the whiteboard last night as one of the things to going against a Detroit team that's playing well, but they had a top 5 power play in the league, and you give them 3 power plays in the first period, including a 5-on-3. And of course they convert. And that came after the Canucks had their own power play 19 seconds into the hockey game and did nothing with it. So they had an opportunity early to get the jump they were looking for, but they've now given up the first goal in 8 of the last 9 games, and this team's just not anywhere close to talented enough to be playing catch-up night after night after night after night.
Especially with Rossi, Garland, Hedl, and Bluger still out of the lineup. How much of what we're seeing from guys like Pettersson and others is veteran, and Boeser probably too to some degree? These are veterans that are just like, how the frick did we get here? Like, they see this 39 games left or whatever there is, and are just thinking like, we thought we were going to be vying for a top 3 spot in the division, and now we're here 31st and likely to become 32nd in the league. Like, do you think the veterans are just having a tough time wrapping around their lot in life here, as we're not even at the Olympic break?
Perhaps, but they also have to look in the mirror and know that they're a huge reason why the team is in shambles the way it is. And I guess for me, the frustration, and I had the discussion with Brock Boeser a week ago where he said all the right things, but nothing is changing in his game. Like, if you watch last night, it looked no different than a week ago. And he's the only guy that's going to be able to play himself out of this. And it's not even a slump anymore. I mean, it's kind of fitting his last goal came on Black Friday, because it's turned into 6 weeks of Black Friday. But I want to, we sometimes we say this about guys, like, you got to step outside your comfort zone. And I'm not expecting him to drop the gloves and fight. That's not who Brock Boeser is. But, throw a hit. He's a big enough guy. Like, just do something to get yourself into a game and out of this rut to some degree. It is a little surprising that Jake DeBrusk continues to feast at the trough at the front of the net on the power play, and Brock can't get a sniff there, where he has scored a lot of goals through his career at the net front. But right now, that's Jake DeBrusk's domain, and maybe Jake doesn't want to give it up. Whatever the case, like, Brock had 7 shot attempts and only 1 hit the net last night. I think that speaks to a guy that's, struggling on the confidence level too, that just put pucks on net. Like, maybe one squeaks through a goaltender, but it starts by making a goalie make a save. And if you have 7 shot attempts, missing the net or having a bunch of them blocked, that's not going to help your cause either. So, yeah, I mean, again, it comes back to this idea of frustration. Sure, this is what, by no means, this is what any of them signed up for. But again, like, what's going to change? For the most part, the bottom 6 of the forward group and the young defensemen have shown all right. It's the top of the lineup that's been a problem. And I know, like, any criticism of Brock Boeser or earlier of Jake DeBrusk or even of Evander Kane comes with the caveat that, they've just no centers. And it goes back to the end of last season, and they continue to pay for it on a nightly basis. Last night, guys, the Canucks had Kiefer Sherwood, their leading goal scorer, and Jake DeBrusk, their second leading goal scorer, playing on a line with David Kampf. Like, how can that make sense to anybody? And maybe that is the true tank. Maybe that's the sign right there that the tank is on. But to see your top 2 goal scorers play with a guy that it's just so weird that David Kampf can get to the NHL and switch off any offensive instincts that he had. Like, I know that he's never been a big point producer, but you get to the NHL by being a good player at every level along the way. I'm sure he has scored some goals at other levels of hockey, and he crosses the blue line, and it's like he just shuts off any offensive instinct that he has. And so I don't know how you can expect Kiefer Sherwood and Jake DeBrusk to find the puck in scoring positions if David Kampf is going to be their center.
And David Kampf has 3 points now, 22 games. If you called up any other player and gave him a 22-game run, and that's what he is right back down to the AHL. I find it. I don't care how good defensively he is. I don't care that he's erasing 30 seconds of game time off the clock. Like, I don't know how Adam Foote and the management group look everybody in the eye and say, we're good with that. Keep trotting him out with the top 2 scorers on this team. Like, it's
I hear you, and yet I wish there were guys down in Abbotsford that were pushing, but there are no options there. Like,
no,
Lucas
there's
Reichel
not.
coming back, and Jonathan Lecker-Mackey, I guess, when he's healthy, but he's kind of gone into a hiding spot. Nobody knows what's going on with Lecker-Mackey. Apparently he's skating again, but he's not playing, hasn't played since Christmas for the Abbotsford Canucks. And you just look at Abbotsford scoring. Like, guys, the top scorers are in the teens, and we're into the new year now. I mean, it's just been such a forgettable season down there for so many reasons. But I wish there were a few guys that were pushing from below, but what you see essentially is what you get with this Vancouver Canuck Hockey Club, and one of the reasons they've lost 5 in a row and are sitting on 37 points.
They are 31st in the league as well, matching spot in the American League as the Canucks are in the NHL. How about that?
And Jeff, you're a student of Canucks history. Now, we won't age you. We know you weren't scribbling notes during the 71-72 campaign when they finished dead last in the National Hockey League. We all saw 2016-2017 when they were next to last in the league under Willie Desjardins. They were so in 89-90 as well. Those are the 3 worst seasons by Canucks standards in terms of the overall standings. They can be dead last again if Winnipeg were to win tonight. You tell me, sir, will this be the worst Canucks season of all time?
Well, I had to look it up. They do have 2 games left against the Jets. They are both right out of the Olympic break. In fact, in a 6-game stretch, the first game out of the break is against Winnipeg, so nobody will have momentum one way or the other coming off a lengthy layoff there, and then they're in Winnipeg the day after the trade deadline. So there are 2 still could be the games of the season there, I suppose. Will the Jets have won by then? What's going on in Winnipeg makes no sense, but we're not going to focus on them at this stage. Look, the way I look at this Canucks season, guys, is you can look at 37 points through 43 games and basically double it and say, sort of 74-ish points. But remember, they were 9-9-2 at the 20-game mark. They were 500 by NHL standards. So it's not as simple as just like rolling their midway mark over and trying to get a projection. Like I think you're looking at a team that's headed for somewhere around like 65 points this season, the way that it's going, especially if they start to peel off players and if there's a surprise trade in there as well. We know that they're struggling to score goals right now, and I don't imagine that that's going to get a whole lot better. And now all of a sudden, really since Christmas again, defense has become a massive issue along with goaltending. So you add it all up, and worst season ever, I think by points, probably not, but there is every reason to think that this team could finish dead last in the stands. You're right. They are right there.
And go ahead. Finish.
Well, I just think I look at the Jets and I just think with Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor having the seasons they do, Josh Morrissey's an Olympian, Connor Hellebuck's going to deliver them some wins at some point. They aren't as bad as that record and the rut that they're in right now, where the Canucks are what they are. And so I have to imagine that the Canucks struggles are going to continue. I have to also think that at some point Winnipeg is going to get some sort of bump that allows them to win even a few games along the way.
Yeah, and Blake and I talked about it earlier. Points is not actually a great historical reference here because of how the league has changed with loser points. And previously we had ties and stuff
size
like
of the
that.
league. And
size of the league. So, we think actually overall standing in the league is probably a better barometer of
well, they've never had 31 teams in front of them either. So if they finish last in a 32-team league, that's the most.
Jeff, we had the conversation yesterday, and you mentioned the DeBrusk goal again. He's got 3 in 4 games. He's got 5 points in 4 games here in January. He's done very, very well since that healthy scratching, although he has been -2 in 3 of the 5 games since the healthy scratching. There was some smoke earlier this week about DeBrusk in Edmonton, and Dreger told us their Canucks are listening there. There's a world where they could get off the contract. What do you think? Does Jake DeBrusk make sense to stay through the dark days here? Or would Jake DeBrusk be someone you'd be looking at peddling? Reminder, he's got the no-move clause, so he does control his destination, at least for this season.
Well, it is kind of funny with Jake. I'm starting to wonder if the scoring run that he's on here is a product of the healthy scratch, or was it just time? Is this just Jake DeBrusk getting back on, one of his streaks in the right direction here? It looks like a response to being healthy scratched, and if that's the case, that's how you would want a guy to handle it and take it like a pro, and he's done just that. I'm starting to wonder if the conversation around Jake DeBrusk isn't being shaped by this power play production, that if there are teams that are headed to the playoffs looking and thinking, and Blake, you've made the point repeatedly, at $5.5 million for a 28-year-old, if all he does is cash in on the power play, there can still be value in that contract. And we know the value of special teams in the playoffs as well. He's a likable guy. He would fit in any locker room across the National Hockey League. There's no baggage there whatsoever. I'm starting to wonder if he wouldn't be an attractive piece to add. Now, again, he has some say on this, obviously, and controls the matter, but does he want to stick around and go through 39 more games of this season and whatever's to come? I'm not so sure about that. This is a guy that has playoff pedigree. He's played in a Stanley Cup final with the Boston Bruins. He's actually had some decent playoff success individually as well. So, before I was thinking, before Christmas, he was in such a rut as well. I hadn't really contemplated this, but all of a sudden when I look, you can say, hey, he's a power play merchant, and he is. The numbers back that up. But there's also an art and a skill to getting yourself in position and being open and available for those passes that are finding him. It's not just, he finds the loose pucks. He gets himself in a position that he's able to whack away and hammer those things home. And so many of his goals look the same. It does feel like a repeatable skill, whether it's here in Vancouver or somewhere else. So the fact that his name is starting to surface, not a surprise to me. And I do wonder if this is starting to catch the attention of others around the National Hockey League now that this guy just has a knack of getting to the right place on the power play. And if there are loose pucks to be had, he finds a way to put them home. So certainly a story I think that's worth monitoring here as we work our way through the month of January and obviously closer to that March 6th deadline.
And of course, he's, his roots aren't very deep here in Vancouver. He thought he was coming to a different situation than this. So I think you're looking at a guy who might be a little bit more willing to wave than most guys.
He got a little jammed last night. He still got that goal on. It was that was.
He's
a nice
a good
goal.
player.
Yeah.
He's not the player. As Dreger told us earlier in the week, his critics are like, okay, if only he was a little bit more well-rounded a player who had a little bit more utility, because what he is good, but people think he could be better than that. We shall see.
Adam Oates was in the corner there feeding him that puck. Or sorry, Kiefer Sherwood, who's getting assists now, guys. He's not scoring, but that was a really nice assist on the power play from Kiefer Sherwood. Is he keeping his value alive here with these few assists here of late?
I think teams around the league know what Kiefer Sherwood is, and where he made the mistake in Buffalo that led to the shorthanded goal. You have to keep some perspective that an acquiring team isn't looking for Kiefer Sherwood to be playing on power play one. Like, they're just not. That's not. And so, mistakes happen. It was a little unfortunate for him. Nowhere to hide because the Sabres race away and they score. And then even last night, late in the hockey game, where he does the toe pick and turns the puck over, you're starting to wonder if there's a little bit of frustration there. But even go back to the Boston game where the Bruins score in overtime and he loses his check on the side wall. Again, these aren't things that we're used to seeing, but an acquiring team isn't likely to have Kiefer Sherwood out in the last minute of overtime. That's just, they're, good teams are going to bring this guy in. They'll have other players to do that sort of heavy lifting. I am wondering if all of this trade scuttle is starting to filter down to the ice, though, because, well,
the temper
the past
tantrums.
was nice.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing things that we haven't seen from Kiefer Sherwood in his year and a half as a Vancouver Canuck, and you can totally understand if that is now playing with him. And enough of us on this side are saying, get on with it. Let's make some trades here. To hear your name on a daily basis in a different destination, I would think that would play some tricks on you as well. So he's probably wanting to get some clarity and reach, have this thing reach a conclusion. Whatever the case, he's getting power play time, and that's where the bulk of their goals are coming from right now. In fact, their power play has outscored their 5-on-5 production over the last 4 games. So great. If you're looking for silver linings, power play is working right now. And Kiefer Sherwood is a part of that with Rossi and Garland on the sideline. But one of the reasons most of them are in the minuses is because there's almost no 5-on-5 scoring. And so if you're not producing at 5-on-5, but you're getting outscored by a bunch, it's not going to look good on anybody.
Yeah. Last question here, because I know you mentioned they won that game under difficult travel circumstances versus the Leafs last year in Toronto. Is anybody worried they get embarrassed in Toronto? Like, the Leafs are 8-0-2. In their last 10 games. The Leafs are playing some of the best hockey the Leafs have played in some time. We know if there's one team...
6-2-2. 6-2-2.
Sorry, 6-2-2.
Yeah.
If there is one thing we know about Canucks fans is, while they may despise this current team, we do eat our own. They hate the Leafs even more. Is anybody worried like they get absolutely throttled tomorrow night?
They kind of got throttled last night, so it's totally
but getting
possible.
throttled in Detroit is one thing. Getting throttled on Hockey Night in Canada and Toronto is another.
Well, there's a couple things. One is it sounds like William Nylander, who's missed 6 games, might be back in time for Saturday night's game, so that would certainly help the Leafs attack. But the Leafs just eked out an overtime victory in Philadelphia. I've thought that question a lot, Matt, through the season. I keep waiting for the Canucks just to have one of those nights where absolutely everything goes against them. They need both goaltenders, all that kind of stuff. We really haven't seen that for the most part. I almost wonder if Montreal isn't the more likely place for something. Like, the Habs can explode offensively. Not that the Leafs don't have top-end guys. Obviously they do. But I'm not feeling that necessarily. A day off for the Canucks. And then, hopefully they understand the stakes here as well. But Saturday starts 3-4 through 3 Canadian hockey markets. Obviously, Ottawa's got as many, if not more, issues than the Canucks do right now, so not have to worry so much about the Senators. But again, this Montreal team is revving on most cylinders. I think that's going to be a really difficult game for the Canucks, but they've got to get through Toronto first. So for whatever reason, they've had a ton of success against the Leafs over the last 15 years. The Canucks record against Toronto, particularly here in Vancouver, but this game's in Toronto, so maybe it doesn't hold as much. But for all the teeth gnashing and hand wringing of the 4:00 start and catering to the East, whenever the Leafs come here, it's almost an automatic win for the Vancouver Canucks. So we'll see if that applies as they go into Scotiabank. But yeah, Toronto, 3 weeks ago, Leafs were spiraling and everybody was calling for the coach and everything else, they seem to have figured something out there. So they're playing a lot better. And a big part of that is Troy Stecher. I continue to get a kick out of the reviews for Troy from Richmond. They just absolutely adore him and what he has been able to do since being plucked off waivers by the Leafs from Edmonton. So they'll see Troy and they'll see OEL. They won't see Chris Tanev or Dakota Joshua. They're out with injuries, but David Kemp, we talked about him earlier. Maybe this is his revenge game.
Yeah. So not. Tomorrow, Greta, following the game, 50 West Cordova, a live edition of RinkWide Vancouver from right there at Greta. Irf with you tomorrow?
He is there. Yeah.
Okay. Jeff Paterson, Irfan Ghaffar will post-game you. Pre-game starts at 3 at Greta. Puck drop at 4. We'll see everybody there. Jeff, thanks for this. We'll catch up next week.
All right, guys. Have a great weekend.
Sick Harrison Price from the historic Well Center.
Segment brought to you by the fine folks at Pizza, who I almost feel like it's a public service announcement, Matt, because the deals are so good at Pizza. The public needs to know about it.
Yep.
We should really have like a breaking news sort of sounder almost.
I picked some up on my way back from the golf course yesterday.
They're slicing the price, if you will, with a large 4-topping pizza. Sit down. $13.99.
What?
40% off the regular price.
I can feed 2 people for $13.99?
All 4 toppings. It's perfect for game night, obviously, and whether you're settling in for the puck drop or watching along overtime, you need extra pizza. So even if there's just one of you, I mean, you'll get through it. A long game, you're going to get through. Delivery or pickup, it's easy, fast, and great value. Slice the price at Pizza from January 5th to February the 1st. Get it while it's good. Order now, pizzapizza.ca or on the Pizza app.
As we welcome in and say Happy New Year to Jeff Marek, the host of the Sheet Daily here on the Nation Network. He's with us usually Fridays. Hello.
Hello, nice pizza essay. Sorry, I couldn't resist the charm of that one. Welcome back,
good.
Blake. My little joke on PSA. Blake's looking at me like I'm eating space cake here, but that's what I was going for, a cheap gag there for pizza. I wish I still had my old pizza phone they gave me for ordering so many pizzas once upon a time, but nonetheless, I think we've told that story before. Dude,
right.
we ordered every Thursday in the Marek household in West End, Toronto. Every Thursday was pizza night, and we ordered so many for so many years. They sent us a phone. So thank you.
An orange phone?
No, it was brown, but it had the pizza logo on it. It was really cool.
Okay.
When you're a kid, right? That's like the coolest, thing you have. Got a pizza
line.
phone, man. That's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yes, he's back from Davos.
Davos.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're all saying it
Yes.
wrong, Jeff. I learned that yesterday, and everyone still
I've been
thinks the
saying it
arena there
Davos
is just amazing.
Yes,
forever.
I know.
Well, we say it on the air as Davos because that's the anglicized name, but yeah.
Yeah.
In one of the world's coolest hockey arenas. Had a buddy say to me, he's like, he goes, I watch the Spangler every year for that arena. He goes, that's just the most amazing arena I've ever seen.
They mean the arena and the play-by-play, yeah. But
No, but hang on. Pause for 1 second, because there is a tiny little point that I want to pick up there from Matt. Because I've always maintained this about hockey. Like hockey on the eyes, if you're just like flipping and you come by it can be really harsh on the eyes. You guys both know I have a TV background. It's like the worst color you can put on television is white. And that's why, in hockey, it's whiteboards and white ice and one team's wearing a white and white socks. And visually, it doesn't relax your eyes. But when I watch the Spangler, like whenever I'm like, okay, I'm tuning in, like right away, just because of the beauty of that arena, my eyes relax.
So much wood.
Right? And it's like I've always forever been trying to figure out a way, much like with golf, with baseball, basketball, like the visual of the arena or the surface relaxes eyes. Hockey does the opposite, and I'm forever trying to figure out a way how we can make hockey relax your eyes for casual viewers so it doesn't seem so harsh.
Make the ice small. Maybe this is why the Olympics did this. If the ice is smaller, we'll see more of the surrounding area, and it'll be easier on the ice.
By the way, speaking of that, I am dying to hear John Cooper say, we're looking for some really good 197-foot players on this team. That's what we expect.
It's a good quote.
We don't want the 200. We don't want the 200-foot players. We want the
they can't play here. You know why?
197-foot players.
He
Yeah,
is
200
smart.
feet. Patrice Bergeron, no room for you here. No room for you here. We want the 197-foot players.
He is sharp enough and sarcastic enough that he might actually.
He might be able to
say
pull it
that.
out. Yeah.
I had Peter DeBoer on the sheet yesterday, and I mentioned that to him. And he's like, "Ooh, yeah, I could see Coop doing that."
By the way, the shots yesterday, you wouldn't think 3 feet is recognizable, and maybe it's just the power of suggestion. The neutral zone looks tight. Like it feels like you can see the 3 feet missing in the neutral zone.
I'm fine with that. I'm forever like whatever you got to do, like shrink the neutral zone, get faceoffs out of the neutral zone. Like to me, like your neutral zone, just be a couple of strides, and then let's get into a scoring area here.
Wouldn't that be funny if this turned out to be a revelation?
I'm fine with that. You know, I was having that conversation with someone a couple of weeks ago. Like, what if it realized, you know what, neutral zone's too big.
Yeah,
neutral zone's too big, and it's too many ways to pick off plays. You know, we were talking about and on Morning Cup of Hockey the other week, and then with DeBoer yesterday, we were talking about stacking, which we see in the NHL now all the time. And DeBoer did this with the New Jersey Devils en route to a Stanley Cup a million years ago, but that 1-1-3.
Right.
Everybody does it in the NHL now. It's all stacked. No, maybe the answer is just get rid of the neutral zone or make the neutral zone smaller. Like honestly, it's not a great situation. We've all had a rip at the Olympics on this one, but maybe there's a sort of a kernel of optimism in there. To Blake's point, maybe this is like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should think about doing something and making the neutral zone smaller here.
Well, it's funny because
to set up a wall.
Bob Ross, beautiful oops.
there are no mistakes, just happy accidents.
Yes.
No, it's funny because I have long been fascinated by sort of the geometry of playing surfaces. And, you know, more often than not, additional time and space should equal more goal scoring, right? More offense. And yet, you know, soccer, it's a really big pitch. They don't do a lot of scoring. Hockey, we move to the international ice, and we tend to see less scoring. So it's a bit of a weird one. Whereas, you know, football, of course, on the CFL field, you're going to see more scoring. You got acres of space out there. So, I am open-minded. Put it this way. I don't have a single iota consternation about the fact it's 3 feet short. Like, that just does not bother me in the least. They're the best players in the world, at least at the U.S., Canada, Sweden level, and they should be able to adapt.
The only thing that I would when it comes to the size of the surface, I don't mind making the offensive zone bigger. I just don't want to make it as wide as the internet. I don't want a 200-100 or a 197-200. Or 100. I still like a little bit more room maybe on the outside, but I've always found like that's the hiding areas, right? Like that area wide away from the goal. Like that's where you run and hide. That's where, you know, you throw the puck. One of the season ticket holders has to jump over the boards to throw it back out into the middle of the ice.
And we've seen they do hide there.
Not making it that much wider.
They just keep them out there. They do keep them out there. We've seen that in international hockey, right? They leave you out there in the trench on the outside. Like it's not useful.
It's not a scoring area. It's not a danger area. And
it's a hiding area.
Yeah. Okay, so since we're on international hockey, I just want your 2 cents on this. I know we're a few days late, but Canada at the World Juniors, and it was last year, Jeff, you told us after that calamity with Dave Cameron and finishing 5th that they're going to go about picking the team differently. They've got no processes or procedures in place that shouldn't allow for the Dave Cameron thing to happen again. And in fairness, it didn't. They got bronze, but third straight year where they don't play for gold. There are only 2 other 3 periods in the 50-year history of the World Junior where Canada did not compete for a gold medal. What do you think went wrong this year?
Couldn't defend. Like really, when it comes right down to it, this was like last year. The story of Team Canada was they couldn't score, right? And specifically on the power play. Matthew Schaefer goes down, all of a sudden there's no one to anchor the power play. And, well, I shouldn't say that. No one like Matthew Schaefer to anchor the power play, and this team could not manufacture goals from no matter how many times Easton Cowan made solo missions to the net or how many times Cal Ritchie fired the puck as hard as he could. It was not going in the net. This year was different. This was a Canadian team that could score. The problem was, and we saw it in that game against Czechia, specifically in the third period, this was a team that couldn't defend, right?
Yeah,
look at that third period against Czechia. Every time Czechia came into the Canadian zone, it was house on fire. You could just see like the panic, and then like every single zone entry by Czechia in that last game was panic time for Team Canada. This was a team that had a hard time defending. I think that's what it came down to. I know the goaltenders may be getting ripped here a little, but to me, they could score. They just couldn't defend this time around.
And I have trouble with that because listening to everybody before the tournament, it was pretty much general consensus that this was the best collection of goaltenders we had sent in some time, right? You had a returning goaltender there. You had a first-round pick goaltender there. And, you know, okay, the strength was the forwards, not the defensemen, but do our best forwards not play the other side of the puck anymore? Like, do we not have any 200-foot forwards anymore?
So I'm really glad you got us there. Okay, so one of the things that I kept saying throughout the tournament, the reason that Brady Martin, Nashville Predators first-round draft pick, the reason that Brady Martin stood out, you know, big, strong, physical, played great on the top line for Canada, kind of looks like a throwback player. The reason that he stood out on Canada is Canada used to bring 8 of those guys, or they had 8 Brady Martins on the roster. Now they have 1, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to say
So
that
weird.
like, oh, Canadians are overskilled, but I did find it interesting watching how hard Czechia competed and how hard specifically Sweden competed all tournament long. And I can remember decades ago, you know, watching the Swedes at this tournament, and we would all say, if you're just going to base it on skill, the Swedes should win every single tournament. But it's, oh, here we go, Swedish soft skill, not going to win tournaments, but the most skilled team. It's Canadian heart and Canadian tenacity and Canadian competitiveness and all of that. This is a tournament where it flipped. Like, Canada's skill was incredible, right? Michael Hage was phenomenal. Zane Parekh was tremendous. Like, this was one of the, even like big guys like Porter Martone that you would look at and you go like, oh man, he's going to put some guys into the season ticket holders' laps. You know, he's a big, strong, skilled guy, and that's where the accent is there. Did it not feel that in this tournament, that old stereotype kind of flipped, where the Canadians were the team that was super skilled, and it was the Swedes that were bringing it, the Finns
I was
that were
so
bringing
impressed,
it,
Jeff,
and Czechia that was
with
bringing it.
how those Swedish and Czech players played on the wall, initiated and survived contact,
Yep.
played in the tough
Yep.
area, like, and some of them are
Yep.
even itty bitty, and they're doing that. Like, Stenberg's not a big guy.
Vigo
He plays
Bjork.
so much bigger.
No.
Vigo Bjork, another
was-
that the Sharenko
Bjork
kid
was
for
incredible.
the Czechs or the Slovaks. I mean, he's itty bitty, and he's
Yeah.
sitting there in the middle of the ice scoring goals. So, no, you're quite right. I think they got the balance wrong. Okay, let's move on.
Well, just before we leave,
Okay.
Sure.
you're the Vancouver Canucks. You get first overall because you're so damn bad.
That's right.
Gavin
Oh,
McKenna
geez.
or Ivar Stenberg? Where are you going?
After that tournament, Stenberg, but let's not forget too that Gavin McKenna did have a wonderfully productive tournament. You know, boy, this is tough because you don't want to be the team that has to make up your mind about Gavin McKenna right now. Like, at least if you pick second, you can turn him down if the first team does too, because
Yeah.
you can say, well, listen, if he was so great,
We're not the
then
only ones.
The team
Yeah.
picking first would have taken him too. Like, you need cover if you're not gonna take Gavin McKenna. Right now, Stenberg's the guy coming off that tournament. But I always remind people too, and teams have gotten in trouble with this before. Remember Eric Johnson once upon a time at the World Jrs, and he ended up going first overall after a tremendous U20 tournament. This is only a 2-week slice of their career.
But even in the
I'll have to
slice of
remember that.
the slice of the season, Stenberg wins that comparison too. Stenberg is doing things that only Daniel Sedin and Peter Forsberg have ever done. So even in the
100%,
season lens, he's winning too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. He's playing with men, and he's playing, and he's incredible. Like, I watched him live in a game 2 weeks ago in the pre-tournament game, Canada versus Sweden in London, and he pops right away. Like, you can't push him off the puck. He is so strong, and that's a knock right now on Gavin McKenna. He still hasn't come close to filling out. You are like, the alluring thing about Gavin McKenna is just how skilled he is and how much potential he has. Here's the question again. It's always like, it's not who's the best 18-year-old, it's who's going to be the best 25-year-old.
Yep.
And that's what and how they develop along the lines too. But a long-winded way of me answering, if it's me right now, I'm going Stenberg. I am going Stenberg.
I am too.
Over Gavin McKenna. I never thought I'd say that a year ago, but here we are.
Moving on to the Canucks, where various reports this week say the Detroit Red Wings and New York Rangers have entered the chat on Kiefer Sherwood. Yep. You wanted to pick up on the Red Wings' interest here.
Yeah, so, you know, and not to put too much of an accent on it, but I don't think we should lose sight of what happened last year at the end of the season between Dylan Larkin and Steve Yzerman. When Larkin essentially said, you know, we were all, you know, on the team, I'm paraphrasing Larkin here, but something along the lines of, we were all upset that Yzerman didn't send any reinforcements at trade deadline. And essentially what Yzerman said was, you didn't deserve it. You know, you didn't earn a trade. You didn't deserve a trade. Like, you know, get this team to a position where you deserve a trade, and that's going to happen. Well, guess what? The Detroit Red Wings are there, and this is a team right now that's shown all season long they deserve a trade. There's two spots where the Detroit Red Wings, I believe, are looking to address. One, they need one more veteran defenseman on that blue line, top four, and that's where I believe the conversation should probably revolve around Rasmus Andersson or players like that. I know there'll be a big market, and there already is, obviously, for Rasmus Andersson, but don't lose sight of Detroit in that conversation. And also a top six winger is what this team, I shouldn't say top six winger, a top six forward. I think ideally it's a second line center, which half the league is looking for at the same time.
Good luck. Yeah.
Good luck. Everyone's looking for the second line center, but those are the two main areas that the Detroit Red Wings need to address. And I think this is not a year where you're at this position where Steve Yzerman can look Dylan Larkin in the face and say, you guys don't deserve a trade. I don't know that that Yzerman goes out and gets both. He is a very, very patient general manager, and he subscribes to the management philosophy of patience is action. We've seen this before from Yzerman for a number of years. He's not going to be rushed into anything. So I don't know that he addresses both, but I think he addresses at least one of those areas of concern. And let's not forget, too, they've got about $1 billion in cap space as well. So that is not an issue for Detroit.
What in the heck is going on with Ottawa in that statement yesterday? I got to say, I have, of course, there was the Corey Perry, Connor Bedard business in Chicago.
That's the closest thing to this. Yeah.
But it is rare is the day when an NHL team releases an official statement addressing what it calls completely fabricated and false stories that are spreading around social media about our hockey club, and in this case surrounding goaltender Linus Ullmark, who has taken leave from the club, and there's a lot of mystery to that leave from the club. But this was an odd one last night to see this from Steve Staios.
This one was bizarre. Then Ottawa followed it up with
a horrible loss,
getting just pounded by the Colorado Avalanche, where Tim Stützle, of all people, ended up fighting. I don't know that this is, first of all, like the closing sentence about how this will put an end to all the speculation. Quite the opposite. If anything,
you give it life, you breathe, you get people going to social media going, oh, what the hell are they talking about? Like, those what did they call them? Mike, can you bring it back up for a second? Trolls and sick people. That's the other thing. Like using this sort of language, the lowest form of trolls and sick people who scour the internet. You've got people going to the social media accounts of those trolls.
Guaranteed there's a bunch of 45 and 50-year-old fans who didn't know anything about this.
No idea.
And now,
especially in Pleasantville, Ottawa, I can assure you.
Yeah, this one was a bizarre one because I mean the term is Streisand effect, right? You draw attention to something that otherwise was flying under the radar, and now you've given this thing a new life, and you've given it oxygen. This comes from a place if it gets to the point where Steve Staios feels he has to put something like this out, then you know that this is something that, I don't know to what degree, but has shaken the Ottawa Senators. And they feel, because listen, teams deal with this kind of stuff all the time. You read stuff that's not true online, and you just sort of tai chi it, right? Just those guys in the park, and just let it go, and whatever, just move along. We're not going to give that any dignity we're not going to respond to it and give it any dignity. But this one's different. And listen, Linus Ullmark needs personal leave. Linus Ullmark needs personal leave. I know that when you're a hockey player or you're in the media, you've chosen to live, at least a pretty sizable portion of your life publicly, and you sort of, surrender some things that would normally be private to a private citizen. Things like, health information about yourself, right? Like that gets surrendered when you're an athlete. But everyone has their line, and when someone is on personal leave, like that's a line that most should respect. Does everybody respect that? No, and that has led to all of this, and we've seen what happens when rumors start to take hold and how they can accumulate and really disrupt an organization. I don't know what's there. I really don't. But it has to be something that has risen to the level where it is of concern enough that someone in the position of general manager feels compelled to write what he did last night and release it.
He's non-rostered now by the Senators too. Like, he's been taken off the roster. He's and yet he's attending games in person apparently as well,
which is so weird.
I don't even know what to make of it.
Right. And we all know the Senators' VP of Communications, Ian Mendez. In fact, we know him pretty well. Ian's a Richmond, BC guy. Ian has worked in a number of media capacities as a reporter at The Athletic, as a reporter at Sportsnet, as a talk show host on the local TSN sports talk show, station in Ottawa. He has done wonders for that organization in terms of getting back into the good graces of that community in the post-Eugene Melnyk era, or even towards the end of the Eugene Melnyk era. And I just can't see Ian thinking that was a good idea. Like that one, to me, very much has to be at the senior management or ownership level. We've got to take this on. We've got to talk about this. Despite what the best advice might be.
He's not only off the official roster, he's off the website. Like, they took him off the website roster, which is hardly, the official roster. Even if you're taken off the official, like, he's your starting goaltender by a country mile, and he's off the website. And
the other thing about the statement is, like, it doesn't specify what it's trying to shoot down. Yeah. Which is, and
it doesn't address what the rumors are specifically.
Exactly,
and that does give you cover to say. Right.
No, we weren't talking about that.
And for those who don't know,
no, that's what we referred to.
And for those who don't know, there were allegations of a marital infidelity issue that led to others, and that's the discussion that was going on in social media that led to all of this. Okay. We've gotten to our first Easter egg of 2026. You have your ride or die. You've got your ride or die partner here, Blake Price, back to help you
call the fiend
along. Austin Matthews became the all-time leading goal scorer for the Toronto Maple Leafs franchise this week.
Woo! Yeah.
He becomes the 6th current active player to lead a franchise in all-time goal scoring. And I say 6 because for the purposes of this exercise, we are excluding the Seattle Kraken and Vegas Golden Knights. They just don't have a very long history. We are also going to exclude the Utah Mammoth / Arizona Coyotes / Winnipeg
Just
Jets.
too confusing.
And your new Jets. So Jets are out of this equation. Utah, Arizona are out of this equation. We're dealing in a 28-team NHL.
Okay.
Okay.
So how
Austin
many are there?
Matthews, there are 6. So there's 5 beyond Austin Matthews who are franchise all-time leading goals, not points. Goals, not points.
Goals, not points. So Steven Stamkos.
Very good, Jeff. And you got the difficult one because, of course, he's not a Tampa Bay Lightning anymore.
Right.
He is.
So you don't have to be on that team
Nashville
still. I
Predators.
see. Okay.
The rest of them are
Capitals.
with their
Capitals
team.
is obvious. Yeah.
Yes, Alex
Capitals is the
Ovechkin.
obvious one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got 3 more.
Now it starts to get trickier.
I'm going to guess that Nathan McKinnon's there.
Very good. Nathan McKinnon, Blake,
Oh,
403
I was
goals
close, but I was
with the Colorado
I would have said
Avalanche.
Joe Sakic. I would have said
Yeah.
Sakic.
I seem to remember that happening, so I just took a flyer on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't think it's happened in Edmonton just yet, has it?
Well, it's Gretzky.
Yeah.
That's swing wing.
It's going to be a long one.
Tough nut there. Yeah, that's gonna be
Yeah.
that's gonna be a difficult one. How about
They got the right guy for the job, though. if there is somebody that's going to do it.
Mark Scheifele?
So
Yeah.
we're not using Winnipeg,
right.
but Scheifele is, yes. For
Yeah.
for the
Okay.
relocated Jets, Scheifele is the all-time. And for the defunct Jets, it's
Dale Howard.
very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Newer franchises, American franchises.
I don't think we're there with Sam Reinhart yet.
You're getting close.
Barkov?
Alexander Barkov with the Florida Panthers, 286 goals is correct. And there's one more.
One more.
And this guy is a terrific hockey player, and I'm not sure there are many people who could pick him out of a police lineup because of where he plays, and just they're not often a national story. Well, at one point they were kind of perennially playoff, but they have fallen from those ranks as well.
Kaprizov hasn't got there yet.
Nope.
Is it? Hang on. Is it Corey Perry, Anaheim?
No.
No, because you can
Let's
pick
get
him out.
tough,
You can
and then-
pick him out of a lineup.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm out.
Philip Forsberg in Nashville.
Oh, with his mustache, you can pick him out of a lineup.
Oh,
But yes, I hear what you're saying.
334
You're right.
goals.
Yeah, should have had that one. Yeah.
For the Canadian franchises, we did the 2 Winnipegs. Vancouver, Daniel Sedin. Calgary, Jerome McGinley. Edmonton, Gretzky. Ottawa, Daniel Alfredson. I was surprised. Alfredson, 426 goals.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
It was 33 more goals than Daniel Sedin scored here. And then Montreal. Who's the Habs' all-time leading goal scorer?
Oh God.
Rocket? No.
Yeah.
Oh, Lafleur.
Is it right?
No,
Yeah.
it's Rocket. It's Rocket.
Lafleur.
It's Rocket. No, it's Rocket.
Rocket?
5. Yeah. I think Guy has more total goals because of his time with the Rangers and the Nordiques, but Rocket Richard.
Incidentally, you guys scoffed at Gretzky. Leon's got 160 to go. I think he's going to do it.
160. That's what, about
I mean, it's four
3.5
seasons.
years here? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think he can do that.
Thank you for playing along, Mr. Marek. Until
Yeah.
next Friday.
That was a good one. I like that. All right, thanks, gentlemen. Blake, welcome.
Feel free to steal.
Thank you.
Feel free to steal because I know you're going to go to the bar at some point and talk hockey.
No.
So, by all means,
it's the old saying, greatness borrows, but genius steals. Greatness borrows, but genius steals.
That's right,
guys.
And before I have to correct myself, Lafleur 560, the Rocket 544. So the years in with the Rangers and the Nordiques did put him over the top of the Great Rocket. Thanks, Jeff.
Very good. All right, thanks, boys.
Secure some price from the historic Wall Center and the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio, built by Arbor Lee. The best plays aren't just on the ice or on the field. Stay downtown here at the Wall. Enjoy exclusive Secure some price perks. Call 604-331-1000. Tell them we sent you. Some blackout dates apply based on availability. Well, NFL playoffs wild card weekend doubleheader starts tomorrow with the Rams and Carolina. We had mentioned this earlier in the week. There are 3 instances of teams with losing records making the NFL playoffs this century. All of them won their wild card game, including Seattle and the Marshawn Beastquake game, 15-year anniversary this week.
Yeah, yesterday.
Saw the video of Marshawn talking about it from his vantage point. And here was the thing, all his coaches said, really smart football player. And to listen to Marshawn describe the run and what he was thinking at every step along the way, wow, absolutely right. That it was a heady guy on the football field when it came to running the football and where
just
to
a
run.
Beast. The way he shirked off
The little
tackles.
stiff arm on Tracy Porter. The
my-
little stiff arm on Tracy Porter. Get out of my way. I'm taking it to the
I watched it again yesterday, and I
watch it every time.
I was equally amazed.
I cannot scroll by it without watching it in its to completion.
Bo Jackson's the perfect running back, but that's about as close to the most dominant run as I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he should have been down 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Following the Rams in Carolina, the oldest rivalry in the National Football League, and befitting these two cold weather franchises, Blake, we have a snow game.
Oh, my.
A storm is expected to hit near Chicago for Saturday. There is expected to be snow for the Bears and Packers. Temperature supposed to be around minus 13 degrees Celsius with wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour. So the kicking game could be quite compromised here. Chicago, no stranger to wild and wacky weather in the NFL playoffs. The Fog Bowl game, who can forget that? Nobody saw it because the fog was too thick off Lake Michigan.
Hit the under, hit the under, hit the under.
Except the Bears don't play defense. So
Still.
Buffalo, Jacksonville, San Francisco, Philadelphia, the LA Chargers, and New England on Sunday's tripleheader. Houston, Pittsburgh on Monday Night Football. Is there a team you like here? I know you like the Seahawks, but is there a team you like here out of this weekend, or a game that you like in particular?
I would still like to see, I'm not a Bills fan, but
yeah,
there's something charming about the Bills still to some degree. They're just stupid fans in the tables and all. Buffalo has so little joy. If you've ever been to Buffalo, there's just so little joy in Buffalo.
That's right.
I wouldn't mind the Bills getting something.
Well, at least now their hockey team is at least doing okay.
Well, a fortnight does not a lifetime make.
Fair enough. It's been 15 years. They haven't played a playoff game since the Marshawn Beastquake game.
That's right.
I like the Rams to win the game, but 10.5. Holy cow, that's all. I like Buffalo as well. No Joe Burrow, no Patrick Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. Josh Allen, no more excuses. Let's go, buddy.
Odds makers are giving the Jags all sorts of credibility. They are the dogs, but only by a point.
The other thing I'm looking at here, if San Francisco does manage to beat Philly and the Rams win in Carolina, having those 3 NFC West teams as the last 4 standing in the NFC.
I prefer the devil I don't know. I don't want the NFC West teams involved. Please give me somebody new.
Miami Off to the College Football National Championship, thrilling semifinal win over Mississippi last night in the Fiesta Bowl from Glendale. The Canadian defensive lineman, Akeem Mesidor, was very, very good. Now, there's a debate about him in NFL draft circles because he's 25 years old. He's one of these COVID guys who has been there forever. But he's going to get selected somewhere, and some people think there's a first-round grade on him. The Hurricanes will play the winner of tonight's Oregon-Indiana game and they'll play in their hometown, the national championship game slated for Hard Rock Stadium in Miami a week from Monday. And we brought you this story earlier in the week, and there's been quite a development, so we thought we'd update. And that is with University of Washington quarterback DeMond Williams, who yesterday posted a public apology to the family and friends of fallen soccer player at UW, Mia Hammett, for announcing his intention to transfer out of UW during her celebration of life ceremony on campus Monday. He also wants the Huskies football program to take him back after his ill-fated attempt to transfer for more name, image, and licensing money from LSU. He signed for $4 million with Washington. LSU offered him $6 million. He jumped ship. Why? Because this had happened in the past with no recourse and no consequences for the student athletes. Well, things have changed a little bit. Washington drew a hard line here. His agent dropped him, Blake, over quote-unquote philosophical differences. It was then reported yesterday afternoon he had secured the services of an agent named Darren Heitner in Florida, who was known as like the leading authority figure on transfer portal, NIL money. He's done a lot of work in this space. He's got a ton of clients. And it sure sounds like this guy told him, DeMond, you're fucked. Beg forgiveness. Because here's the thing. There was a defensive back last year at Wisconsin, Blake. He did the same thing. He signed with the Badgers, and then he transferred to Miami because they offered him more money. He played in the game last night. In fact, he was ejected for targeting. And the Big Ten Conference, which Washington and Wisconsin are a part of, and the school grieved it, realized we don't have any recourse here. And from that point forward, Big Ten schools, on the advice of the Big Ten attorney, started putting specific contract language into these NIL deals with the student athletes that was going to make it punitive financially for them to transfer. So Coach Fish down there says now he's got to repair his relationship with this locker room. But the whole wild, wild west of the transfer portal and NIL money might have met its conclusion, or at least it may get a whole lot tamer from here after this episode with the Huskies.
If he does this right, DeMond Williams will now end up losing a lot of money because there should be so many bouquets and gift packs sent around to teammates,
that's right,
booster club presidents, all the like. I mean, if he's going to reintegrate himself back into UW life, there's a lot of gift packs.
He should be particularly generous with his offensive linemen because, of course, they can go, oops, missed that guy.
Yeah, first play from scrimmage of the season.
300-pounder deadline.
Just as a bit of a lesson, first play from scrimmage of the season. Oops, did I let that guy through?
Did I let that guy through unabated? Is a 300-pounder bearing down on you at speed?
Well, in all seriousness, if they are good next year,
and they should be. Talent-wise,
there's probably no damage done. But
everybody wants to win.
But Matt, if they are at some point 5-4, and the season has gone to pot a little bit, there are guys that are not going to mind when you're not playing in a good bowl game at that point.
Yeah. No, exactly.
I'm not going to bleed for you.
Mm-hmm. I once had a friend who played NCAA quarterback, and I said to him, like, do you get on your offensive lineman at all? And he went, are you kidding me at this level?
Yeah.
He goes, they just pull the Olay business, and I'm a sitting duck.
That's right.
He goes, in the NFL, you can get away with that. It's, professional. There's money involved, blah, blah, blah. Quarterback's basically like a coach. But he goes, until you get to be that made NFL quarterback, he goes, don't publicly embarrass your offensive lineman.
No.
Bo Bichette has a meeting set with the Philadelphia Phillies over the next few days the presence of new Phillies bench coach Don Mattingly, who, of course, held the same job with the Blue Jays.
And they were buddies.
Those two were very close.
Yep.
You remember the
Embrace.
scene as Mattingly was watching the Dodgers celebrate at Rogers Center, and Bichette goes over and gives him a hug. Mattingly, of course, legendary baseball figure, has never won a World Series as a player or a coach. So that is said to be a big factor. The other big factor here, and fewer people would know this, so many baseball players have a residence near the spring training complex. They're going to spend 6 weeks there, so they just buy a home there. And, of course, in Florida, if not Arizona, it's advantageous tax-wise as well to set up your residence and your life there. The Philadelphia Phillies complex is 10 minutes from the Blue Jays complex in the Florida Bay Area.
No moving necessary.
Blue Jays are in Dunedin. The Phillies are 10 minutes up the road in Clearwater. So he just basically takes a different route to the ballpark for 6 weeks.
One exit further.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see where that goes. And oh my goodness, the Detroit Tigers are the butt of baseball's joke today. They are getting ridiculed after going to arbitration with star pitcher Tarik Skubal and submitting a number of $19 million for his salary, while the player countered filed at $32 million, which is closer to the going rate for staff aces.
Right.
As former player Jerry Blevins, now an analyst, wrote, "I'll buy the pay-per-view of this case being argued. Please let me hear the Tigers talk shit about the best pitcher in baseball for 2 straight years not being worth his real market value." Skubal's name was in trade speculation earlier in the offseason. The Tigers said, no, we're not trading him. We know he's a UFA after this year, but we plan to keep him. Blake, the $13 million difference is just a gulf. You look at the other arbitration players, what they filed for, what the team filed for. I mean, I realize these are bigger numbers, but even percentage-wise, way closer. Like in some cases, you've got players and teams that are going to arbitration over a couple $100,000, Blake. In this case, $13 million. There is so much ridicule out there. You wonder how this lands with the player. And as we know from NHL players, they really hate arbitration and hear their teams beating them up. There is no certainty that Skubal is a Tiger after the events of yesterday.
Well, the bigger problem for me in the story is not necessarily the golf. It's the golf in combination with his rank in Major League Baseball pitching. If he's the 25th best starter in baseball, which is a very good starter.
Yeah, I mean, it's a staff ace. There's 30 teams,
There's still warts on that pitcher, probably. Yeah, you walked when you're talking about a guy who's maybe the top 3 pitchers in baseball.
I mean, Paul Skeens, Yamamoto, maybe Garrett Crochet in Boston. It is a small number of guys who are in Skubal's rarefied
you got no warts, no nits to pick.
It's astoundingly stupid from the Detroit Tigers.
So stupid.
Because here's the other thing. Why file a 19? File at something in the mid-20s, and then
put a
maybe
2
the
in
arbitrator buys your case,
If
right?
it starts with 2,
If
it's
starts
21.
with a case,
If it's 21 even.
Any arbitrator worth their salt is going to look and go, the first thing that's going to jar them is you didn't even get to 20.
Again, the 40th best pitcher in baseball is getting paid $20 million this year.
Both of Canada's 2026 World Cup kits have leaked, the primary ones.
I thought this happened weeks ago. I could have sworn we saw these, but...
Yeah. There's the white, there's the red. For those of you on visual platforms, there will be a third black kit.
They don't offend me. They don't inspire me.
No, really, when it comes to Canadian national teams, of course, I'm going to have my preferences aesthetically, as everyone will. I the beholder and all that. I don't give a shit as long as they're not embarrassing.
Yeah.
Just look appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Use red and white as the primary colors. Those are our national colors. Have a maple leaf on there. I promise you I'm not going to cheer against you if I don't like the uniform. So just look appropriate. Like when hockey went to the mustard yellow, no, none of that. Can't have that. I don't care if it was used decades ago. No yellow, please. There's no yellow in our flag. So I'm fine with these.
Yeah. The modern kits aren't my favorite. I prefer throwbacks, but it's fine.
Player news, ex-Whitecap striker Daniel Rios is signed with CF Montreal, so the Mexican stays in MLS and he stays in Canada. Whitecaps FC2 signed University of North Carolina freshman Emmanuel Math of Burnaby. He had been an academy player for the Caps. He has represented Canada at the U17, U20 levels, and University of North Carolina has been fertile ground for Vancouver. They got, of course, first-round pick Tate Johnson out of UNC last year, and he had a very, very good rookie season. More with Whitecaps FC too. Wow, there's been a lot of news around them. Their head coach, Ricardo Clark, is off to the Seattle Sounders bench. He's a former U.S. international player. He'd been coaching Whitecaps FC2 for the last 3 years. Sounders originally wanted him for their reserve team, but then an assistant's job opened up on Brian Schmetzer's bench, and they asked him to serve in that capacity, so he go.
He's regarded as a very great guy.
I've heard great things about him.
But I
yes.
don't know that his tactics were necessarily regarded as cutting edge.
Let me ask, at that level, is it about winning, or is it like minor league baseball, it's about development?
It's about development, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but you need to give them a semblance of what structure is like, and you want him to emulate the structure that is being played by the big guy, of course, to some degree. So
yeah,
there are dynamics at play.
Poll question results from yesterday. We asked, should the Canucks trade Jake DeBrusk? Yes or no? The people said?
People said yes.
Correct percentage?
86. What?
Did you look?
No.
87. I got to say, it's not often I'm surprised with our poll question results. I was a little taken aback at this, that it was as high as 87%.
I think people see
I thought it'd be closer in the like 66, 70 range, even 75, but 87, nearly 9 in 10?
He's over the age of 26, and they don't have deep roots with him.
Okay.
And here's the thing. I don't think anybody's got a bad word to say about Jake DeBrusk, really on the ice or off the ice. I have not seen any
when
viral
you accept his limitations as a player. Yeah.
But I don't see anybody posting shit about him of like, oh, he's where's DeBrusk scoring? I see that about Boeser. I don't see that about DeBrusk. I think he's inoffensive in every single way, but I still think people just say, no, we can do without him.
Ron, everyone besides the kids should be on the table. David, yep, value relatively still high. Do it now. Sam, I'd honestly say no for now because of his great contract. Need guys to play with the young kids that aren't getting $6 million plus. I'd loop back around on DeBrusk if we start filling out our left side. But it's slim pickings, and I understand that as well. In fact, I voted no. I was one of the 13%. Errors and omissions from yesterday's program. Want to account for this. We published a clip yesterday of Patrick Johnson talking about the Elias Pettersson, Caitlin Pettersson public skate at Rockefeller Center. And we thought it was clear in the captioning and with what Patrick was saying that everybody on this side of the ledger thought it was a non-story. We're actually surprised to hear Adam Foote talking about, I talked to him about, when you're an injured guy, stay off.
The only criticism was why he needed to say that.
Yeah,
that was the
exactly.
Only criticism.
Our criticism was, who are the Canucks to think they can regulate the social media posts of a family member of a player? So we all thought that was clear. Alas, not all of you did. And if there's any ambiguity, that's on us. So we did take that clip down since many didn't seem to understand what we were getting at.
He was in that clip was sort of taking the devil's advocate standpoint of what people were thinking when they were seeing that, but that was not Patrick's thoughts on it per se.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time and connecting with the program. Please do subscribe to all our assorted channels, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Follow on social. That's X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky Live. It'll noon Pacific time weekdays.
Before you go, though,
On most of those platforms generally, but Monday, Tuesday, a couple more early starts for the Canucks out east in Ottawa and Montreal. So we will be 10 a.m. shows on Monday and Tuesday of next week.
And before you go, we're always imploring you to crave Uber Eats.
That's right.
We're telling you how easy it is. You just get on the app. You get game day deals. Just in case you thought it was difficult. A few days back, even these two idiots were able to pull it off. Here you go. So I know we were smelling this in the other room.
At just the right time, too.
I can't wait any longer myself.
No, let's have at it.
For those of you that have listened or watched the show over the years, you know that noodle soup is a part of our DNA.
Big on noodle soup, especially in the cold weather, warm you up. Fantastic lunch.
I know that you are more of a plain or veggie noodle soup guy.
Yes.
I've got that for you.
Excellent.
Here's your broth to mix in. Don't spill.
No, try not to.
Look at that. Oh, that smells good. Chicken noodle soup for me. I can't wait. We don't have the time to walk down the block anymore like we used to for our noodle soup. Uber Eats, critical now in our soup consumption because now we can actually just get them to bring it to us.
Right to the door. Look at this. Do we have chopsticks there?
That's a good point.
Okay.
I will have to get chopsticks. You make sure you tick the box for your cutlery to come. I'll bring you your chopsticks.
Very important.
And this is really how we get through the work day. Oh, I'm spilling.
We're here for lunch every day. So
now
we're gonna do the show. We're gonna eat.
I do have a little bonus. The MVP, if you will.
Oh my.
Of this
It just
Canucks
gets better.
game day. Because there are BOGOs and other fabulous deals on Uber Eats. And so, in here, a very special contributor.
What you got?
It's our BOGO deal of the day.
Oh my.
Some nuggets.
Thank you.
Buy one, get one.
The PS.
Chicken nuggets.
Thank you.
Sweet and sour sauce as well. Cannot wait. I don't know the last time I had one of these.
This is fantastic. Good combination.
This is the MVP of my day. This is what makes it. Now the result of the game doesn't even matter. Oh my gosh.
A bad hockey game made a lot better by a good lunch or a good dinner to accompany.
So perfect.
I'm going to just pick up the bowl and drink it this way.
Make sure you download the app. Make sure you chew your food properly.
Don't talk with your mouth full.
And take advantage of all the BOGO deals that are afforded to you on a Canucks game day. Uber Eats, there to help you,
Thank you.
all season long. Thank you to Uber Eats. Now, back
I
to the
got
Canucks.
some eating to do. Yeah.